Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. There's been an update to the Nik Collection. It's the Nik Collection 7. Now I've mentioned in the past that the very first plugin I ever purchased for Lightroom was the Nik Collection. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the very first plugin ever available for Lightroom was the Nik Collection. Now back then when I purchased it, it was its own company. But over the years, they've gone through some trials and tribulations. They sold out to Google. And Google reduced the price of it, and they did some improvements to it, and they modified it a bit. But eventually, Google made it free. And once Google made it free, they really stopped supporting it. They stopped improving it. They stopped adding to it. They really left it to wither on the vine. Well, along came DxO, and DxO purchased the Nik Collection from Google. And DxO did some improvements to it. Mostly were incremental. A lot of people were kind of upset with that. But DxO definitely saved a great application, and with Nik Collection 7, they've added some things to it that I think are relatively significant. In today's video, I'm going to talk about one of those things. Now, I'd like to do more videos on the Nik Collection. In the description below this video, please let me know what you'd like to see me do a video on concerning the Nik Collection. Now, those of you not familiar with the Nik Collection, it is a collection of apps that mainly work as a plugin in Lightroom or Photoshop or DxO's Photo Lab, but it will also work as a standalone application, although there is some limitations there, which we're going to mention in a moment. So you have all these different apps, and typically, if you're working on a color image, you would start out with the app Viveza. Viveza is your basic color editing application in the Nik Collection. I have Viveza open now, and I'm going to open up an image into it. Now on my desk, I have a TIFF file, and you may be wondering, why isn't it a RAW file? Well, that is one of the limitations. The Nik Collection does not work on RAW files, so you have to use a JPEG or a TIFF, as you can see from this dropdown. So we're going to open the TIFF up into Viveza, and on the right-hand side, you have the controls, and typically on an image such as this, I would go over to shadows, and I would open up the shadows quite a bit. And maybe I'd open up the midtones a little, bring highlights down a little bit. I'll move the black point a touch to the right a little bit, or maybe to the left a little bit. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Then maybe I'll go to structure and add some structure. So I do my editing here. Now there is another application in the Nik Collection called Color Effects. With Color Effects, you could add specific effects to your image, and usually that would be your next step. Well, what is significant in the 7th edition of the Nik Collection is you could start out in Color Effects and access Viveza through it. Let me show you. I'm going to close down Viveza, and I'm not going to save anything I did, so I didn't really do anything. I'm going to instead now open up Color Effects, and inside of Color Effects, I'm going to open the same image. And as I mentioned, I didn't save the changes, so it is unedited. Now over on the left-hand side, you'll see all of the different effects that you could apply to this image. There are a lot of different effects. If I go up to the search bar at the top and I search for Viveza, you'll notice there's 3 Viveza filters I could add. One of those is selective tones. That was the first thing I did to this image when I was in Viveza. So I could add that by clicking the little plus sign, and you can see it's the exact controls that were in Viveza. And again, for this, I'm going to open up the shadows quite a bit. Maybe we'll open up midtones a touch, bring highlights down a little, and I'll set my black point slightly to the left. And now, because I still have my filter or my search bar showing Viveza, or Vivez as I wrote, I want to add now global adjustments. So I'll click the little plus sign and it will add it underneath my selective adjustments. And so I could come in here and I could mess around, let's say with brightness. I could add some contrast maybe. It's pretty saturated already. I don't think I need to add any saturation, but I could come in here and add that structure like I did in Viveza. And we have shadows. Shadows look pretty good. Maybe we'll just try opening those slightly. But then, you know, so and so. on. We just go on and do what we can do, and we could do in Color Effects what we did in Viveza. There is another Viveza filter for white balance, because in Viveza you could adjust the white balance, the same exact thing, and the white balance is fine. I really didn't need to do that. Once you're done though with the Viveza filters, you could get rid of your search term and you could add any other filter that you want to add. So you could go through the list. As you can see, there's so many. And I've done videos on the past on Color Effects Pro, previous versions of Color Effects. And I've, talked about many of these, like tonal contrast is a really nice filter that I often add to images. You can see how it kind of really makes it pop, doesn't it? So that's a great one. Then we could, of course, finish off, let's say, with a vignette like that, but maybe not that robust of a vignette. Just kind of see what I'm doing here. Transition more. That's kind of the feathering and the opacity, just a little bit of a vignette like that. So that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to give you an idea of this new feature found in Nik Collection 7, in that everything that's in Viveza basically is available in Color Effects, at least the main things. And you'll be able to then just start in Color Effects and edit your color image in Color Effects using Viveza filters, and then continue with other filters that you might want to use inside of Color Effects. Now, I definitely want to do a video in the future on Silver Effects Pro. It's my favorite black and white application. It's just by far my favorite. When I did a project on the statues in Forest Lawn Cemetery, I wanted that to be completely in black and white, and I used Silver Effects Pro for those black and white images. It is really, in my opinion, the best black and white editor there is. So you could shoot color and then send it into Color Effects or Silver Effects Pro and convert it to black and white, and it really does a great job. So I will definitely be doing a video on that. If there's anything else you want me to do a video on, let me know. I obviously will be doing future videos on the control points, because those are a very important feature to do selective editing inside of any of the Nik apps in the Nik collection. So I'll definitely be doing that as well. So just let me know anything you'd like me to add. I'd be interested to hear. Thank you, everyone who watches my videos. I really do appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.